What do we mean by closing the gap? And will this referendum make a difference? Kaya from Whadjuk Noongar land. I'm Theo, and today on Voice Watch we'll talk about closing the gap, a phrase you've probably heard before. So let me tell you what the gap is. Since colonisation, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have been marginalised and disadvantaged. The dispossession of the colonial era, followed by failed policies, including the stolen generations, have left lingering effects that are still felt today. Health outcomes, life expectancy, graduation rates, lifetime earnings, and even infant mortality rates, on average, are lower for Indigenous Australians when compared to non-Indigenous Australians. So the phrase, close the gap, can be traced back to Professor Tom Calma's Social Justice Report in 2005, a report that exposed the stark differences in health outcomes between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. From that point, a coalition of NGOs worked together and a campaign called Close the Gap was born, putting pressure on the government to recognise the disparity experienced by First Nations Australians and to do something about it. In 2008, after delivering an apology to the stolen generations, one of our country's most important moments, Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, together with the federal opposition, committed to the Closing the Gap targets, a pledge to address the health and education disadvantage of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. So, how did we go? Sadly, not well. In part because of the Abbott government cuts to Aboriginal funding, including defunding the existing advisory body of the day. We have only seen 4 of the 19 Closing the Gap targets on track as of 2023. Several are even going backwards. The most recent Closing the Gap report shows the need to act, stating rates of adult imprisonment, children in out-of-home care and suicide have all increased, and children's early development outcomes at the start of school have declined. Now that doesn't mean everything is going backwards. Some of the targets are improving. But if we are to meet our goals and meet them by this current target of 2031, Australia needs to do more. Because no matter where we sit politically, we can all agree that 4 out of 19 is not good enough. So what are the options? We could continue as we're already going. Disjointed progress with every 3 steps forward accompanied by 2 steps backward. Or in the case of the Closing the Gap targets, every 4 steps forward accompanied by 15 steps backward. On the other hand, we could listen to an Indigenous-led proposal to create change, an efficient national advisory body enshrined in the Constitution, by First Nations, for First Nations. While this proposal won't solve everything, we know that government works better when it listens to the community. And a voice to Parliament will empower Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to talk to their government. I think this is the best opportunity we have to close the gap within our lifetime. And that's why I'm voting yes.